Today, I'd like to talk about these general terms: ascension and awareness. Now, when it comes to what's happening on this planet, understanding these central terms is important for our future. Now, we can break this down by saying that ascension is equal to awareness. Ascension is equal to awareness because the more you understand things, the more we can say you have ascended, right? And you understand things through knowledge, right? Through knowledge. How do you ascend? Through knowledge. Now, the difference that may cause an issue is that people will associate ascension with spirituality. And people will associate awareness with education, i.e., non-spiritual. And they would go one step further to say metaphysical, because we know instinctively that it has elements that are beyond this dimension, that are in the quantum, right? Because awareness can have quantum elements. So we think awareness, people will say, they study metaphysics, listen to metaphysical teachers, and they increase their awareness. And similar people will do the same thing to increase their ascension, but they will have more spiritual components like visions, dreams, encounters. So some people will say ascension, and the general mood is we are ascending. What I'm saying is that awareness is the same thing. It may not have the same components because not everybody has these components. So these components here, encounters, spiritual beings, seeing the past and the future, so they become hard to explain. They become spiritual. You might have spiritual visions. So we say it's ascension, which is kind of this big term. It's a big term. Now, so when I talk about awareness, I'm also talking about ascension. And when I talk about ascension, I'm also talking about awareness. This is in my experience. So why do we want more awareness, and why do we want to ascend? Because when you understand how things work, what happens? You have less suffering. That's the whole point. The The whole point of religion and spirituality is to end suffering. That's the whole point. If you didn't know that, now you know. It's to end suffering. Because you have all these difficulties in life, right? You have difficulties, and then you realize that, there's a divine being. Divine being doesn't care. Doesn't care about the difficulties and loves you. Right? You got these, what we call the vicissitudes. Life is hard. We all know that. It may be easy today, tomorrow it's very difficult. It's full of challenge. When you have the most challenge, when you lose a loved one, when your life turns over, when you're going through a divorce, you turn to spirituality. You turn to religion, or you turn to, since there's more and more atheists around, you turn to metaphysics. So there's lots of teachers in metaphysics. They teach spiritual concepts, religious concepts, in a non-religious, non-spiritual way. So what happens is that it becomes more digestible for the masses. Okay? So when you go through difficulties, you turn here. Because when you have a difficulty, you suffer. So to end your suffering, you turn to here. Right? So you lose a loved one. Why? Why did it happen? And you turn to here. Well, there's a reason. They had to go. Example. So that ends your suffering. That helps you understand. Otherwise, you have no understanding, because in the reality, it doesn't make any sense. Why did somebody get shot? Why did I have to lose my job? Why did my divorce have to end everything? Right? So awareness, we turn to raise our awareness through these difficult periods. In the modern sense, you got the alternative group, the UFO crowd. Let's say the UFO crowd. They want disclosure. Okay? So again, you have this group. I have a pen here. You have this group, and they want disclosure. Disclosure involves a lot of steps. So there's suffering. Right? There's an event. There's 9/11. So what happened? There's suffering. We don't know what happened. What happened? Suffering. The UFOs are here. We want to know about it. They won't tell us. There's suffering. There's all these conspiracies. We don't know the truth. There's suffering. So what do you do? What do you do when it doesn't make sense? The UFOs, the 9/11s, catastrophes, conspiracies, climate change. You go to these teachers, right? You go to religion. Religion has an explanation. Spirituality has an explanation. The metaphysical teacher have an explanation, and you have the conspiracy theorists. They have an explanation. But understand that if we have conspiracy theorists and we have a metaphysician and we have spiritualists and we have religious people, you understand that the spiritualists took from religion, right? Let's say Buddhism. Just use a very simple example. Karma. Well, the spiritualists say, well, there's karma. Karma comes from Buddhism, Hinduism. So the spiritualists, and there's many, all the concepts these guys preach, they come from religious contexts. But they come from many religious ideas, right? And then the spiritualists, they teach these people who don't believe, the metaphysicians don't believe in spirituality as much as these guys, right? They'll say quantum, okay? But they're saying the same thing. Quantum means other dimensions. Things are happening at the same time. So spiritualists will use dimension. Religious people will talk about the different dimensions, different beings. So you understand there's a hierarchy here. So the spiritualist learns from the religious teacher. The metaphysician learns from the spiritualist, but they add more science, right? It's this pseudo-science. And that's what they're called. Because the scientists don't agree. Scientists don't agree with any of this. Scientists are atheists, for one. They're atheists. Prove it. Show me the facts. Scientists call the metaphysician, and there are many famous teachers, pseudoscience. Okay? Or they'll call it mumbo jumbo. You know what mumbo jumbo is? That's what science calls a metaphysician. The metaphysician learned it from the spiritualist. Scientists don't agree with the spiritualists because the scientists are atheists. They don't believe in spirituality. And the scientists are not religious. Now, then we come to the conspiracy theorist. The conspiracy theorist gets attacked, but the conspiracy theorist learned it from the metaphysician. Because, again, it's awareness. Any of these people, to increase awareness, you have to go into the studies. To understand something, you have to go into this material. Okay? Now, whether you call religious Mayan, the Mayan texts, right? Then you get into, they become a conspiracy theorists. 2012, they become a metaphysician. Or whether you do straight up Buddhism, Christianity. All of these concepts, like I say, karma is one example. Life after death. Reincarnation. Reincarnation doesn't come from science. Reincarnation doesn't come from metaphysics. Reincarnation comes from Buddhism and Hinduism and other religions that believe in reincarnation. Hinduism in particular. If you believe in reincarnation, this is the other catch. You believe in religious ideas. So you have these all of this is connected, but it's through awareness. The conspiracy theorists becomes aware through all this knowledge. We are all connected, okay? The metaphysician has many ideas from religion. The metaphysician understands the conspiracy theory. The spiritualist understands. They might believe in spirituality, but then they're looking at 9/11, right? What happened? What happened there? So everything is inherently connected. Now, when it comes to, and everyone here, there's teachers, right? Everyone is there's teachers that go out to raise awareness. All these people are raising awareness. If they're teaching you about their theory, if they're teaching you about their metaphysical ideas, spirituality, any church or temple is raising your awareness or helping you to ascend. Why? To end suffering. Okay? The goal of religion is to end suffering. That's the goal of religion. Study these texts, you will not suffer, you will be at peace, you will find happiness, and you will find joy. That's the promise. That's the promise, right? It's not always happens in reality. And that's why people, instead of, they didn't find end of suffering here, so they went here. They didn't find end of suffering here, they went to the metaphysicians. There was a big explosion of metaphysics in the 90s. And now lately there's an explosion in conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory, they're mixing science and metaphysics and spirituality. That's right. That's what they're doing, everything. Right? This conspiracy theorists, they're doing ayahuasca. Which is now shaman. They're talking to shamans. Okay? So you understand, although there's a distinction in the world, understand that this is all connected. This is all connected. But the goal is to raise awareness. The goal, the teacher, when someone's talking about their theory of 9/11 or of climate change, or why climate change is not climate change. What they're doing, or the UFOs, they're talking about UFOs, you know? They're talking about aliens. What they're doing is they're raising your awareness. They're helping you ascend, because to end your suffering. Okay? So this is it's important that we understand awareness. And everybody, at one point in their life or other, they will turn to one of those topics: religion, spirituality, metaphysics, right? Motivational speakers, conspiracy theorists, to raise their awareness, to end their suffering. When something goes wrong, you end their suffering. But when it comes to human awareness, so this is our planet. Let's say this is the Earth. That's the water. When it comes to Earth, okay, and that's a spaceship. I'll write it down. That's a spaceship. When it comes to, so this is the planet. When it comes to Earth and awareness and the spaceship people, they have to think about this word here, intervention. Can we intervene? That's the question they're going to ask. can we intervene on Earth? Okay, you see where I'm going? So let's say there's the UFO disclosure. Okay? They could say, well, we got the ships. Right? We got the ships. Why not just go there and just disclose it? Why? Because of awareness. Okay? So, if awareness is low, can't do it. If awareness is high, we can. So this is their question. Can we intervene? What is the awareness? Okay, what's the level of awareness? That's what the spaceship people have to ask. If there's a political turmoil, whatever it is, right? Politics, military, classified, disease. I'm not going to keep, I don't keep writing. There's a list. You can keep going. There's a list, right? Abortions, whatever. There's a certain type of disease. Let's just say there's a certain type of disease. Well, we have a cure. The UFO people have a cure. It's called stem cells. Okay? So at a certain point, they'll say, okay, here's stem cells. Right? There's a certain type of there's a techno situation, so here's an iPhone. Right? So there's these little interventions based on awareness. When it comes to UFO disclosure, well, the awareness is not there. People are not ready. The awareness is low. Right? So you can say whatever. There's a UFO battle. There's the Allied forces, and then there's the Cabal, but the awareness is too low, so we can't intervene. So this is important. Why is awareness important? Is awareness informs intervention. If things are dire and there's a dire situation, there will be a little bit of an intervention. But if there's a struggle, then there probably won't be an intervention because it's not critical enough. So this is what the spaceships are doing. Can we intervene? What's the awareness level? High or low? That's what they're thinking. So what happens? You understand the picture? So what happens? Teachers raise awareness. Awareness at the end. Awareness. Okay, messy. Teachers raise awareness. By raising awareness, we get more intervention. We end suffering. So that's awareness is a kind of currency in advanced societies. Now, if you've ever studied spirituality, or if you've ever studied martial arts, right? Even in martial arts or spirituality. Your awareness can elevate your status. So remember, there's an old saying. I mean, this might help you here. You ever heard this before? You ever heard that before? When the student is ready, what happens? The teacher will appear. So we know that. A lot of people know it. When you're ready, in martial arts, for example, you train martial arts, and you train, and at a certain point, you meet a teacher, and they teach you more advanced stuff. That's the whole goal of martial arts, is you want to learn the advanced stuff. Well, that comes through years and years of dedication, dieting, training, practice. Same with spirituality, right? You go sit on a mountain for years and years. You sit on a mountain until you're ready, and then the teacher, the master appears, and they teach you something, or they validate, right? Sometimes they'll teach, sometimes they just validate what you think you know. So it could be they can teach, but they can also just validate. You already have it. We already have a good understanding, but now they validate. And sometimes the teacher is a book, or a video, or a movie. Like, it doesn't have to be a person. The teacher, a particular book comes out, you're watching a YouTube video, you're watching a movie, and they say something that validates. So the student needs validation in order to go up, right? That's you raise your awareness, you ascend. When you have awareness, you ascend. So, and this gives us the basic equation. If you understand, you move up. If no, nothing happens. Your life goes nowhere, nothing happens. Same thing with awareness. If there's awareness, you have a high understanding, you can receive help. Now, as a society, right, this can be individual or society. So to raise the awareness of a society, you have to have that influential power, a book, a training program, a school. Individuals easier, but if there's awareness, you can receive help. If no, nothing. Things get worse, things stay the same. So with this basic understanding, let's talk about the master controllers. I think we've talked about these before. The master controllers, call it the cabal. What's their job? Given this scenario, right? If you understand, you move up. If you have awareness, you can receive help. How can they harm this planet? Well, one, they can reduce awareness. That's awareness. I think I wrote it wrong. They can reduce awareness. Two, they can make people afraid. Don't listen to the conspiracy theorists. Don't listen to the cult. It's a cult. Don't take ayahuasca. It's bad for you. Okay? Don't talk about aliens. They're evil. Aliens are evil. So they make you afraid. They reduce awareness. They hold books, right? Not publish books. Not make movies, right? So you hold. So the teachers have to make their own books. They have to make their own movies. They don't have the same audience. They don't have the same reach. What's the other thing they can do? They can attack teachers, right? Attack the teachers. Conspiracies are lies. They're not proven. So, and there are different ways they can attack. If this is the equation, then all they have to do is to, right? They can attack the teacher just by saying, this is not true, this is unproven, right? This is not based in fact, this is not scientific. Now, what happens, now using our knowledge from before, what happens when you reduce awareness? What happens? What happens when you reduce awareness? You increase suffering. And you reduce intervention. So what does that mean? That means you're in control. If all they have to do to reduce awareness, don't publish books, don't talk about it on television, don't make movies, make people afraid to believe in aliens, those are not scientifically proven, don't take ayahuasca, or they attack the teachers. That guy's crazy, that guy's a nut, that's conspiracy theorists, they're all bad people, they're a loony. You reduce awareness over time, you increase suffering, you reduce any chance of intervention, and you increase control. Now the world is controlled. Why is the world controlled? Because there's no understanding, there's no awareness, right? You chase it back. Awareness comes down to awareness. If knowledge was to flow freely, then there would be no control. If I could talk about anything. Now, the thing is, when you talk about anything, there's a lot of disinformation, wrong information. But when you control the knowledge, you increase suffering. So your goal is to increase your understanding, increase your awareness, study and learn through the teacher. It not only will end your suffering, okay, but it will also not only end your suffering, okay, but more importantly, right, end suffering, raise awareness. More importantly, when it comes to the bigger planetary issues, your awareness informs intervention, right? When we are ready, the teacher will appear. And it's a very simple concept, but very powerful. Because the advanced cultures, they respond to awareness. They respond to, are you aware? You can't fake it. You can't fake awareness. You can't fake it. They will know if you are aware or not. They will know if a planet is ready for a new idea. That's a new idea. That did not come from Earth. That's a new idea. Right? There's many, right? There's many things we can talk about. We've talked about before. So, awareness, ascension and awareness is central to our future. Because it's not only ascension and awareness is central to our future. Because it not only will end suffering and make you a happier, better person, because you understand how things work, but it will also informs intervention. So anything that interferes with these concepts is an antagonist, is something you have to overcome, right? Because to control the planet, all they have to do is control this.